Hey guys, we are now on Monday following Passion Week is what we're doing, and we're on Monday, and we see several things happen on Monday, and this is what we look at. Jesus is in Bethany, and he's going to go from Bethany, he's going to go to Jerusalem, but on his way, we see that Jesus is hungry, and as he's hungry, he sees a fig tree, and he goes to this fig tree that has these fig leaves on it, but when he gets there, he realizes there are actually no figs on the tree. And so Jesus does something that's interesting here, and we wonder why, but we'll understand in a minute. But he curses the fig tree, and listen to what he says: "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And the disciples are like, What's going on here? Why is he doing that?" We're about to find out. He continues on into Jerusalem, and he goes into the temple. And this is what he finds in the temple, is basically a picture of what he found at the fig tree. And when he goes into the temple, he sees all the people there, all the people who have the lookings of being God's people, but really their hearts are far from God. He goes into the temple and he sees people trying to make money off the things of God. He sees people selling pigeons, and he sees money changers, and he gets in there and he's like, "What are y'all doing? This is supposed to be a place of prayer and worship, and you're making a mockery of the things of God." So he cleanses the temple. And the picture is clear and wonderful. God is saying to us, he's saying this, that we can have all the lookings of being his people, but yet have no fruit. That's exactly what was happening in the temple. People who were supposed to be his people, the Jewish people who had followed all the rituals and done in their minds all the right things by obeying their laws, they looked like they should be religious and be the people of God, but they didn't actually have any fruit because they didn't have a relationship with God. And so the fig tree is a picture of what Jesus finds in the temple. And he goes in and he cleanses the temple. And this is wonderful because it reminds us that as Jesus cleanses the temple, it's a pointing forth to when Jesus is truly going to cleanse us, the temple. And what he does and what he accomplishes in his life and his death and his resurrection and his perfect life. He cleanses us. He cleanses our temple. He does for us what we cannot do for ourselves. And so the wonderful part of what we see here is that Jesus is constantly showing us that he is the Son of God who is coming to be the Passover lamb. And y'all, this is the question that we need to ask ourselves. Are you someone who has all the lookings? You have the leaves on the fig tree. The tree's there. You have the leaves. But when someone gets up close to you, they don't find any fruit. Do you have all the lookings of being a follower of God, but really you're not because you don't have a relationship with him? And so that's the question that needs to kind of burden our heart today. Do we produce the fruit that God has called us to? The fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Are you showing that? Do you have that in your life? That's what God desires of us, a relationship, and for our hearts who are filled by the Spirit to show the world who he is. Is your life producing the fruits of the Spirit? I hope today that when you evaluate your life, you see that you do have the Spirit of God in you and that you are producing the fruits of the Spirit, because God will do mighty and wonderful things through those who work and who do what he's called them to do by the power of his Spirit. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Talk to you later. Bye.